Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and this is crazy news. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was planned to come out in China on October 25th, but apparently Bruce Lee's daughter sent a complaint to China to try and get the film rejected because she doesn't like how her father is portrayed. This is crazy. So now the talk, this comes from Hollywood Reporter, apparently now because of Bruce Lee's daughter making this direct appeal to China's National Film Administration for changes to her father's controversial portrayal in the film, the movie's China backer Bona Film Group is said to be frantically working with Tarantino on a new cut to salvage the release. This is crazy. It was approved for release in China on 25th, but regulators have abruptly reversed course. According to multiple sources in the situation in Beijing, who asked not to be named because they weren't permitted to speak publicly, local release has been indefinitely put on hold. This would have been Tarantino's first proper release in China. The country's enormous market was expected to help push the title total worldwide gross to over 400 million. The abrupt change, of course, is a blow to both Sony and the film's financiers. Hollywood Reporter reported exclusive in January that Bona took a huge, sizable equity stake in Once Upon a Time, which gave the company participation in the film's worldwide box office as well as distribution rights in Greater China. So that's where things get complicated. So Tarantino takes a lot of money from China, financiers, and now the film isn't going to be in China. Should he edit the movie? This is crazy. As typical in China, no official explanation for the cancellation has been offered by Beijing regulators. Bona didn't reply to text messages and emails, and Sony's China office could not be immediately reached. Obviously, no one wants to go on record for this. But the story swirling through the executive ranks was that the decision stemmed from Tarantino's somewhat controversial portrayal of martial arts hero Bruce Lee, the only character of Chinese descent in the movie. Friends and family of late Lee have blasted the director for the depiction, saying the real-life action hero didn't behave as he's portrayed in the film. According to sources close to Bonafide, Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon Lee, made a direct appeal to China's National Film Administration asking that it demand changes to her father's portrayal. This is crazy. So now there's a last-minute scramble at Bona to work with Tarantino to cut the film in time for its reapproved for its original planned October 25th release. The only other title that came close to theatrical was Django. That film initially received permission, but was bizarrely pulled from cinemas across cinema on its opening night. Again, no explanation was given on that sudden change. People at the time said took issue with its graphic violence. And then Django received heavy cuts and released a month later. So he did cut Django, interesting. But then pirate cuts were widely available within Chinese subtitling. The unedited pirate version went widely seen, but the delayed official release fizzled and promptly faded from cinemas, earning just 2.6. This is wild. Obviously, South Park has stood their ground and said, we're not editing to China's standards. And I support that wholeheartedly. I think this is crazy how financiers and everyone is just like, yep, whatever you want, China. Tarantino should stick to his guns. He's already dealt with the controversy here in America. And I defended him just because this isn't a biopic of Bruce Lee. It's a fictional tale for Tarantino's mind. He's rewriting history however he wants. It doesn't say it's a true story at the top. Why we have to suddenly kowtow to not only China, but Bruce Lee's relatives because he decided to do a version of Bruce Lee that the issue was Tarantino defending that this is how Bruce Lee was. I think that's where Tarantino, floundered on this because he didn't know Bruce Lee. He's just assuming that. And how would anyone really know? Even his family really know how Bruce Lee would be in that scenario or at 24/7. So Tarantino messed up in that regard. If he should just owned and said, this is my portrayal of Bruce Lee. It's a fictional story and movie. And so this idea that, now he's going to have to edit it, which honestly he probably would do. He probably doesn't want to do would be my assumption, but he feels like he has to do for the financiers who put a lot of money on the line and were expecting money there to make a Chinese cut. If he did it for Django already, chances are he's going to do it here and just cut the scene. But I think that's kind of lame. And this is just one more example of just showing how we are just always doing whatever we can do to bend over and please China when, if they don't want the movie, then they don't get the movie. And we should be defending Tarantino and his right to make this portrayal, which was not offensive, which was nothing in the movie should be seen as something that shouldn't be releasable. If anything, Tarantino should just own the fact that it's not a true story. And I don't know what Bruce Lee would have been, but this is sort of my version of him. I wish he had done that and I would have been even more of a defender here. But because he hasn't, now he's in a weird spot. And if he changes things, I don't know. I think that's going to make a lot of people upset saying, Look at Tarantino just bowing down to the Chinese. This is happening a lot in Hollywood. South Park, South Park was pretty drastically mean to China. That one sort of made sense, but they have a freedom to do that. They've done that to everyone. They're an equal opportunity offender. So for them to not bow down and say, no, we're not changing, and then double down and explain why they don't believe in it in their follow-up episode and say, F the Chinese government for what they did, they're allowed. That makes sense because that's what their belief is. We're in America. We're making that. They don't care. They don't want to make something that's less effective or less of their what they're trying to say inside of themselves. Just because Chinese government's not going to pay them and not going to get more money from that audience. So this constant creative struggle to not be able to offend the legacy of Bruce Lee, which isn't even offensive. It's just a weird portrayal. This is where things are going to get slippery, and we do have to pay attention. This is something I would ignore in my previous Hollywood life. I would have been like, well, who cares? Whatever, yeah. But you got to start looking back at like where this stuff goes. And I can see why a lot of angry other people are getting angry about this because it's a slippery slope, right? So this is an interesting story. I'll follow this as it develops. We'll see what happens. What do you think? I mean, I do think Tarantino's in an odd spot. If you have a financier who's put up a lot of money and they're expecting a big return in China to make up for the money they gave, and you've edited it before to try and please those money makers, I think he's going to do it. And I guess I can't fault him for that a deal's a deal. So in that regard, I think that's the past that I would just argue he has to say, like, look, I promised to get my film released in certain markets to get the funding for my film, and I got to fulfill what I promised. Now, if he could have fought for artistic, I hope he also would say, look, that's not what I wanted to do, and this isn't what I want to do. I do think he needs to make some sort of comment here to just show us where he believes in this whole issue. So what do you guys think? Hit me down in the comments below. Hit me up on social media at Andy Signor. And I got some more videos coming this weekend, tonight. And thanks so much for watching. I'll be back, so hit that subscribe button, that little notification bell, and thanks so much. Bye, everybody.